If I told you that hydration had nothing to do with water, would you believe me? The other day, one of my clients sent me a post from a health influencer who has a good following, and the woman was talking about how hydration has nothing to do with water intake, and it doesn't matter how much water you intake. It matters the electrical conductivity in your body. And she said if you're grounding and getting enough sunlight and getting enough fresh air, you'll stay hydrated. And I'm going to tell you that the fact that hydration is partially an electrical event is true, but it's also a fluid balance event. And if you don't have enough fluid, you cannot be hydrated. The electrolytes that should be inside the cell, magnesium, chloride, calcium, sodium, bicarbonate, sulfate, believe it or not, zinc, and iron in the human cell all have a charge to them. They're either positive or negative. And the more of those electrolytes that are inside the cell, the more water they will pull into the cell and hydrate the cell. When you don't have the right balance of electrolytes and you don't have the right balance of minerals in your body, you end up with the water staying outside the cell and the cell no longer being healthy and being dehydrated. And sure, yes, absolutely, getting outside and getting sunlight, especially between the hours of 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. in your eyeballs without sunglasses, super important. Getting in on 40% of your body's skin every day, super important. But that alone and being barefoot walking around on grass is not going to fix the fact that if you choose not to drink any water, you will not be hydrated. One of the biggest conductors of electricity is water, and you should be 70% water. When you decrease your water intake and your skin becomes dehydrated, it can be because of literally not having enough water. Hydration, hydrogen, oxygen together form water. And it can be because of an electrolyte imbalance. And I can tell you, I've experimented with this. And if you want to do this, that's fine. I don't advise it. But I've experimented with this where I get 2 to 3 hours of sunlight every day and I walk around barefoot most of the day and I only drink about 32 ounces of water. And when I do that for a week, literally my skin feels like it's ripping off of my body because I'm not hydrated. My eyes feel dry. I feel miserable. I get a headache. I feel literally like I'm dying. And unfortunately, people who unknowingly have a kidney disorder of any kind because they've never really had anything big happen and so they've never had any reason to have their kidney tested are going to follow this advice of this woman and drink less water and just think that grounding and sunlight are going to fix them. And they're going to end up in a bigger problem like I did because I know I have a kidney issue and literally have back pain that they think is back pain, start going to the chiropractor, that's not going to fix it, and end up probably with a kidney infection or kidney failure. Your kidneys are responsible for filtering 5 liters of blood every day. And part of the way that we dilute things and get them out of the body is to put them into water that you can then urinate out. If you aren't taking in enough water, how do your kidneys have anything they can get rid of, and how do you get rid of toxins? The advice of drink 8 8-ounce glasses a day actually did come out of some research, even though this woman says there is no research. It came out of research on people who were suffering with kidney disorder from dehydration. And there is research that shows that extreme dehydration on labs will look like kidney failure. And yes, you should be balancing that with electrolytes, and you can do that a myriad of ways. There are tons of electrolyte supplements on the market, but you can do it with as simple a trick as taking half a lemon, squeezing in 32 ounces of water, adding an eighth of a teaspoon of whatever kind of salt you want to add. I don't really care. And or cucumbers and basil. You could also take that same 32 ounces of water and add fulvic acid drops to it. And the amount of water for each person that's needed, yes, is different. But on an average, the reason they came up with 8-ounce glasses of water is because that was what prevented kidney failure. Please don't stop drinking water because some health influencer told you that it's okay if you just walk outside barefoot and get some sunlight. Incidentally, some other things about hydration. There are people who sweat and their sweat has like no scent. It's very clean. It looks just like water. Part of the reason they sweat like that is because they don't have enough electrolytes. And then there are people who sweat out all of their electrolytes. You can see that crusty salt on their skin. That person during intense bouts of exercise is going to need excessive amounts of electrolytes to get through that event, because basically your whole body is a semiconductor. You're one big electrical event. Electrolytes having different charges are part of how you are that semiconductor, and it's super important because those electrolytes are used in your brain, in your heart, in your muscle tissue, all throughout your body. So if you're someone who sweats at rest and your sweat is really clean, it could be a way that your body is trying to tell you, hey, I can't hold on to the water that's outside the cell. I need more electrolytes to pull it into the cell. Or if you're one of those people who sweats excessively, has that white crust on your face, your arms, your legs, that's a sign that during exercise you need more electrolytes, because your body is using up those electrolytes to pull the basically toxic waste that your muscles are creating out of the system as fast as possible so that you can keep going, but then it needs to be replenished. And I know there's a lot of information on all of these social media apps about your health. And I know that day by day it's getting more and more confusing. And I'm just going to try and simplify it for you. Just critically think a little bit and say, does that sound right? Does it sound like if I just go stick my feet in the grass and get sunlight, that would be adequate hydration? Where is the hydration coming from?